Hey, what's up guys? My name is Hexen, and today I'm going to be teaching you ways how to approach PC gaming for console gamers and beginners. So in this video, I'm going to be going in depth on like basic controls and stuff like that for people that really don't have an idea at all for PC gaming and stuff like that. So I really hope that this video helps you out. Okay, so to begin, we all know that we need both hands to play video games, right? So for now, we're going to show a quick example, especially since this is also for console gamers, and also for beginners as well. But for the console gamers, I'm going to show you a comparison between the controller and mouse and keyboard. Alright guys, so just want to show you a quick comparison between the controller and the mouse and keys. So for the left joystick, obviously for movement, so all that is happening here on the keyboard, and for looking is the right joystick, the mouse. The only thing is that for buttons, most of it is on the right side of the controller, so I'm going to show you how that's done on the keyboard. Alright guys, so for basic controls for movement, you're basically using all 5 of your fingers, but we're only going to focus on basic movement, which is these 3 fingers. And the only keys you're really using are W, A, S, D. I know there's like a bunch of keys here and it's very overwhelming, but you do not have to move your hand at all for any of these keys. So it's basically just here, and this is the only spot you'll be for movement. So for your middle finger, you're only using your middle finger for W and S, which is forward and back. Your ring finger on A to move left, and your index finger on D to strafe right. So this is basically your movement up here. So again, ring finger on A, middle finger on W and S, forward and back, index finger on D. Now for other stuff on basic movement, I know that there's a jump button. So for your jumping button, it would be the space bar here, which would be your thumb. So again, our 3 fingers here, and your thumb right here for the space bar. So you don't really have to move anywhere else on the keyboard to do that. So it's just here for your thumb. And for let's say you want to crouch, some people prefer control, which is your pinky here. That's what I prefer for crouching. But others like using C, which is literally here. But reason why I don't really like doing that is because I had to sacrifice movement of my 3 fingers and then move to C to crouch. So I basically have my pinky here for control to crouch. So I could be moving my 3 fingers here at the same time and then having control to crouch, and then my thumb here for space. So this is pretty much what it should look like here. And you don't have to move anywhere else. Okay, so the game that we have on here is Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It's one of my favorite games to play. So reason why we're using this as an example is because it's one of the most basic forms of shooters, since it's only a crosshair-based shooter. So we're going to focus on the movement here. So like I showed you before, the hand placement here, W forward, S back, A to strafe left, and D to strafe right. So this is pretty much what you're doing. Don't have to move your hand anywhere else. It's just all here. See? Forward, back, left, right. Now you can also move diagonally. Let's say that you want to move forward. Moving forward, and then you press the A key at the same time. Just like how you would move up diagonally with the joystick. It's basically the same thing with the keys. Diagonal, diagonal. Also backwards, diagonal. See? Move in circles. But it takes time and practice. It's all just muscle memory, but it's really not that difficult once you keep playing. And then for your jumping, the space bar, it's right here. And then for crouching, that's pretty much it for that. Oh, and another thing too. So we all know that in games like Call of Duty, there's a sprint button, which would be the shift button here, which is also for your pinky. So you don't really have to move anywhere else on the keyboard. You could just move your pinky
up to the shift. See that here? But for Counter-Strike, it's the walk button. So you see how I'm just walking really fast, and then if you hold shift, see how I'm walking really slow, and I don't have to move my hand anywhere else onto the keyboard. It's all here where my hand is. So there's that.
Alright, so now we're going to focus on the aiming aspect for controls. So as you can see for the mouse, we all know that a mouse has a left click and a right click. But for now, we're only going to focus on the left click here, which is pretty much fire for any shooter. So basically just that. It's really simple. But the really cool thing about the mouse is that you could pretty much control your aiming at your speed. What I mean by that is you have full control of how quick you move yourself. So let's say I want to turn really slow, I could just do this. But let's say, I don't know, I see someone in the corner of my eye and I just do that. You know, I'm already aiming where I want. And the cool thing about mice too is that you can pretty much fully customize the speed on sensitivity to what you want. Preferably I use really low sensitivity. As you can see, I'm on a 17-inch mouse pad, so from like one side of the mouse pad to the other, I'm doing like pretty much almost somewhat a 360. But I use mostly my arm to like look everywhere, and then when I want to aim, I use my wrist. Some people play on a higher sensitivity where they don't really have to use their arm, they're just using their wrist to do like a full, you know, turn. But yeah, so that's pretty much it for the mouse. The mouse left click is to shoot, and sometimes shooters have a secondary. I know in this game this gun doesn't have a secondary or a scope or anything like that, but usually for aiming is the right mouse click. Oh yeah, and also for aiming stuff and finding sensitivity, that's going to be on another video. So whenever I get to that, I'll post that for you guys, and we'll talk about sensitivity, get in more in depth about that. So since I mentioned Call of Duty earlier, about the sprinting and all these other extra controls, so this would be like a little more advanced since there's more things going on with this game. So remember how I explained how the shift button was the sprint and it being walk for Counter-Strike. So yeah, basically the same thing, running and then hitting shift. Also the same controls, forward, left, right, down, forward, right, and then space to jump, and then control. But by default, just to let you guys know, by default C would be to crouch, but I prefer control to be crouch. And since there's a proning button for this game, I binded C to prone, so I could just hit that, so I don't have to move my hand anywhere else. So there's that. And as for the mouse, since you're able to use the right click, that's to aim. And for the left click is to shoot. So that's pretty much it. Same thing applies, just, you know, extra buttons. And by default as well for this game, and some people do prefer, there is a holding button mechanic. Whereas, let's pretend that I have this on hold, so I can hold the right click and then aim, and then when I release it, he would go back into normal stance, just like on the controller where you hold the left trigger and then release it to be back on default stance. But my preference is just a click. Alright, so really quick guys, now that I've shown you everything that you can do with the keyboard and the mouse, so basically in action, this is what you know, you should be doing what it should like when you play. So see, my left hand never moves anywhere else. It's all here on the left side. WASD, spacebar, control, and shift if I want to sprint. And for Call of Duty, you know, preferably for me, C is to prone. So this is what it should look like if you were to be a PC gamer. And everyone thinks you're hacking because your aim is too good. Yep. Alright guys, there you have it for basic controls on PC shooters. One more thing that I do want to go over is pretty much just have fun. Because if you don't, then you know it's not going to be enjoyable, especially when you're trying to learn something new. It can be frustrating at first, but I guarantee you that in the end it's worth it, because PC gaming is a lot of fun, especially since where you're able to do with mouse and keys, you know, I don't know, I just feel that you can do more, in my opinion, than you would with a controller when it comes to like aiming and movement and stuff like that. But yeah, so I have some recommendations for games that you guys could play and enjoy and relax, you know, on the learning process. Single player shooters are the best way to pretty much, you know, build muscle memory, but without any stress. So one good game I do recommend is the Half-Life series. You could play Half-Life 1, 2, you know, whatever, 3. Wait, there's no 3, right? Yeah, there's never going to be a 3. Anyways, yeah, so play the Half-Life series. It's basically the same engine that they use for Counter-Strike. Just straight up crosshair shooter, basic movement and stuff like that. So highly recommend that. And if you really want to dive into the multiplayer games, I'll break it up this way for you. So for the basic crosshair shooters, would be Counter-Strike, Quake, which is a little more fast-paced, less tactic. It's more of like, you know, reactions and really good aim. And Overwatch, which is also another somewhat basic form, since it's just, you know, crosshair shooting. And for a little more advanced stuff that adds a little more keys to it and stuff like that, I know Fortnite is one of them. It's kind of like in the middle for me for Fortnite, because yes, Fortnite is a crosshair-based shooter, but there's building, and I know that people make their own, you know, customized binds and stuff like that for building quicker and stuff like that, and it gets really intense. Rainbow Six is another advanced controlled shooter, since, you know, just like Call of Duty, it has aim down sights, it has like a peeking system and all that other cool stuff. And then Call of Duty, which is what which is what you saw earlier in the video. So those are pretty much the two forms of shooting games. So yeah. So thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I really hope that it helped you a lot. So if you enjoyed it, you could like, subscribe, and if you have any questions at all, you could just comment down below, and I'll do everything that I can to reply back to you guys. And I also stream almost every day, starting at 8:30 p.m. I'm currently playing the new Call of Duty Modern Warfare, so you guys can check that out. And oh, quick reminder, so for my next video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to find your sensitivity and ways that you could feel comfortable with what you're with. So hopefully that would help as well. So yeah, guys, thank you so much, and have fun.
Assets identified. You need to keep them intact. Enemy UAV overhead. Contact!
Claymore set.
The system is already installed. Yeah, I did everything.
I'm the best.